Before diving into the topic of this video, I just want to give you a bit of a context of what inspired me to tackle this subject in the first place. Now, while I was reading The Lord of the Rings for the first time in the past few months, it made me realize and understand something that I didn't consider before when it comes to just mythologies in general. Me being a huge fan of the hero's journey and all, my gut reaction was when reading The Lord of the Rings is that this is great, but the only thing I'm missing is the character arcs or the journeys for these characters. And this immediately brought me back to Star Wars itself, and especially the original trilogy, as that trilogy was built upon this Joseph Campbellian style hero's journey and mythology in the first place, of course. And for me, this is one of the ways mythology can be done when talking about mythology in the general sense, is that where we follow the heroes through their journey and we experience their character arcs, their highs and lows alongside them, making us fully immersed in their stories, and therefore their stories become personal to us in a way. And the other way is the classic mythological storytelling aspect, where the audience is just simply watching this larger than life plot or mythology unfold in front of their eyes, and they're not necessarily connected to the characters in any meaningful way, but they of course found them likable at the very least. And my main examples here would obviously be Lord of the Rings, but you can also talk about Greek, Northern mythology, or just any type of mythology that you can think of in this place. And this was the case with Star Wars and the prequels especially, where instead of those films telling a classic hero's journey like the original trilogy did, they rather told a classic, grandiose mythological story where the audience couldn't necessarily attach themselves to the characters as much as they did previously with the original trilogy. But with that out of the way, now let's talk about the mythology of the SnyderVerse and why I think Zack Snyder has taken the best of both worlds of these mythological storytelling types to give us this unforgettable modern mythology of superheroes. What was highly intriguing about this approach to storytelling is the fact that it is something that we, the audience, haven't really seen beforehand. As I mentioned before, we had two distinct types of approaches when dealing with these stories, which were rarely, if ever, mixed into one. But with Man of Steel, and why I think that the initial reception was mixed towards the movie itself was the same reason that they were for the Star Wars prequels, in that the way of storytelling was simply unexpected and that it didn't live up to the expectations which were set by the previous movies, which is frankly a bit ludicrous to be perfectly honest with you. But back to Man of Steel. With Man of Steel, you get both worlds as it has this epic Lord of the Rings style mythological importance to it. But at the same time, Clark Kent is a legitimately relatable character, and you're led through the journey of the character finding his purpose and becoming Superman throughout the whole of Man of Steel. And this line of thought or storytelling was continued in Batman v Superman as well, but the new character that the audience was introduced to was a Batman who has lost his way. This was a surprising choice as the audience wants to connect with the character from the start, as we see the death of his parents and therefore we want to connect with him. But something prohibits us, the audience, to care for the character. That something is his idea that the end justifies the means, as his quest throughout the whole film is to kill Superman, who himself struggles to find his place in the modern world. Wonder Woman is also part of the story, but she's a rather reclusive part of society at this point, and her character is somebody that the audience is not necessarily supposed to be invested in yet. During Batman and Superman's gladiator-like fight in the movie, the Cape Crusader realizes how deep he has fallen, and with the sacrifice of Superman to save Earth from certain annihilation, he vows to do better. That is the point where the audience is finally able to connect to the character of Batman, as he has seen the error in his ways and wanted to make up for his mistakes so that his friend's death would not be in vain. And now when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, we see the paving of the way for our heroes to becoming their best version of themselves, with new characters being introduced to the mythology as well as the same time. We see Batman at his best, as he's the one who assembles the Justice League to fend off the invading forces of Darkseid and Steppenwolf. We see more of Wonder Woman's character, how she grapples with the fact that this world needs her back, and we also learn more of her connection to the Amazonians, and through that we get a glimpse of the Proto-Justice League's battle against the invading forces of Darkseid. The Justice League is in dire need of Superman's strength, however, and Clark Kent is resurrected using the technology of the enemy, and being reborn on Earth, he can finally embrace both his homeworlds and become the bridge between two peoples, which is a choice that both of his fathers would be proud of. When it comes to the new characters, however, we are introduced to Arthur Curry, the rightful ruler of Atlantis, but he is, as well, still hasn't found his place in the world yet. The same can be applied to Barry Allen and Victor Stone's characters as well, as both the Flash and Cyborg struggle to find their purpose in this world, but through the bond of family and the bond of the Justice League, these people are able to find their place and purpose, while defeating the invading forces of Steppenwolf, but still being wary of the looming threat of Darkseid's armada. Zack Snyder's Justice League draws the most out from the classic mythological approach, as the audience can witness God fighting the devil and his army in hell, while also presenting a personal struggle and the hero's journey within the film itself for each of these godlike meta-humans, in order for the audience to connect with their characters and stories, and to be able to celebrate alongside them when they overcome their struggles and the end of this chapter of the mythology. I think there is a clear parallel between the style of Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League, as both have this 50-50 split of the hero's journey and also the classic mythology alongside it. Whereas in BVS, the character struggles were mostly at the forefront of the story, as the middle chapter, or in this case, one of the middle chapters, usually does focus more on the characters and their hardships. And when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, I consider it fascinating how perfectly the balance was struck between introducing new characters who are relatable and also have their certain character arcs within the film itself, while also having the already established characters being one step closer to their ultimate place in the mythology, while also telling a compelling overarching narrative and setting up the next two chapters of the mythology in a meaningful way. I consider the DC mythology set forth by Zack Snyder to be something that by current trends or standards of the film industry, those of course being the eradication of artistic integrity in the hope of making a few more dollars at the box office, or just commercializing a piece of art as much as possible, that this mythology should not exist in its current form. However, it does, and I hope that we get to see the end of it all. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know what made you love, or at the very least appreciate, Zack Snyder's approach to DC's mythology. And if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, as it helps out the channel a great deal. Subscribe for more content like this one, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, remember to keep it insightful.